Next up is Buren County Election Commission, George, Bobby, and Johnny.
Judge James, members of the court, appreciate the opportunity to visit with you here. Bobby's passing out something that we're going to get into here in 3, 4, 5 minutes, okay? So just kind of let it lay there. We'll get into it. We recently have attended a meeting at the Secretary of State's office where the discussion was new voting equipment. I'm not going to call them machines because we don't know whether they're going to be comparable to what we've got or whether they're going to be laptop computers. We're not just sure yet, so we're calling them new voting equipment. The reason for that is twofold. First of all, I'd say 80% of the voting equipment that we currently have, machines here stored at the courthouse, are broke. And they need replaced, okay? That's just it. So the state decided they were going to try to help us out in buying new equipment. We went down there and found out that the state was going to provide $412,515 for us to buy new voting equipment, as long as the Quorum Court approved the passage of a little over $200,000 to pony up and meet that. We told them very promptly that the Quorum Court was not going to do that. Is that pretty close to right? Okay, so we're probably not going to have any new voting equipment under the current way that the procedures at the Department of Finance Administration are written. They're written as a matching fund. And so the Secretary of State is trying to get the wording changed to a grant. The state has almost $270 million in excess funds. We think, the election commissions across the state, we think that the state could go ahead and pay for the voting equipment. We just think that's the right thing to do. So we're going to continue to press that so that we don't put any more financial burden upon the county. Fair enough? We're working right now just to use those state funds. I talked to the attorneys down there last Friday. They are kind of guardedly optimistic that it may happen. The time frame for making this happen is going to be in October and November, if it happens. If it happens, we're going to be able to get that new equipment in so that we can begin training December, January, and February for a March primary election that's coming up. Now then, to what you've got in front of you there, we had to consolidate some polls. We had to do that for several reasons. First of all, election is going to cost anywhere from $20,000 to $25,000 for the library. Of course, the library will pay that back, but we've got to still come up with money to pay for that. It's also getting increasingly more difficult for us to find poll workers that are qualified, capable of staying awake for 13 hours or more at a time, that are willing to work for minimum wage. So we're consolidating polling places. We have to do it. And so you see before you there the decision that we come up with to consolidate them just for this one election. We anticipate a low turnout anyway, and because of that, we don't think that this is going to cause any burden upon anyone. The last thing I want to cover with you is the topic of vote centers. The current voting procedures that we've been using, which I call the precinct system, where we have 21 precincts, is going away. Starting in 2020, we will go to vote centers, which will operate administratively the same as early voting operates. Early voting right now, for the 2-week period of time, anybody from anywhere in the county can come into the courthouse and vote. That same procedure will go into place starting in 2020, and we will move to 4 vote centers across the county. You will be able to vote on election day at any one of those voting centers. If you live in Damascus and you want to vote in Denard, if you're going to Branson, you can stop in Denard and vote. If you live in Clinton and you're going south to Conway, you can stop in B Branch and vote. So administratively, it's going to help the county, it's going to help the clerk, it's going to help the election commission, and it minimizes the numbers of people that we have to find that are qualified and willing to work. So those 4 vote centers, which are not mentioned on there, will be these locations. There'll be one in B Branch, one in Clinton, one in Denard, and one in Fairfield Bay. The county clerk has also advised us that Anybody can come in and vote early if they want to, and they can vote by absentee. So we're not restricting anybody's ability to vote. Besides, early voting percentages have continued to increase. Secretary of State and the State Election Commission anticipates that they will continue to increase, where we will see minor numbers in the next 8 to 10, 15 years. We'll see minor numbers of people actually voting on voting day. Do you have any questions about the briefing to this point?
This will save thousands of dollars going to the centers. Instead of having your-
We understand one thing, some people may complain that their historical polling place has been abolished. And when that happens, they can call me and I'll explain it to them. I'm not anticipating a big problem, but if there is one, I'll handle it. Okay. George, do you have any comments?
No, I think you pretty well covered it, but the savings is going to be considerable to the county. I hope you realize that. I didn't attend this meeting because I was out of state at the time, and I wasn't aware that it was going on until after I had left. But it's important that we understand that these changes need to come about to the county. Not only the considerable amount of money that will be saved, but the poll workers that we've used in the past, most of them are pretty elderly. They don't want to do it, some of them. They forget things. We have training sessions. We teach them
They
how
want to
to
go home
open
at 2 o'clock and take a nap.
and how to close out, but we still have a multitude of problems that arise with one person pushing one button on that machine that was wrong, and the entire machine shuts down. So you have to go out there and get it up and running again, and when you have 21 precincts with over 40 machines, it can get pretty hectic. This is going to eliminate so much of that. It's unbelievable, and like I said, the savings and the problems we've had, many of these machines are old, they're wore out, and we've just been keeping them going. There was a lot of machines that were picked up from Buren County that Jeff Hall had brought in. Johnny found out that the commissioner over there told him that all those machines were junk. So we've got a bunch of that stuff here we need to go through and get rid of. But again, I just want to thank you all for giving us this opportunity to speak with you in regards to the voting machines and the changes that are going to come about in the future with our voting system in Buren County.
Ms. Bennett, you got anything you want to add?
Only that this list that we gave you, we consolidated down to, was it, yeah, nine polling places instead of the 21, or the library election.
Y'all doing this for the special election, right? You're consolidating this.
Just the special election.
Now 2020,
We're going to 4
We're going to
poll
four.
you're
voting
gonna roll
centers.
on them 10,300 voters divided 4. Okay, got it.
Well, there's 10,600
Well,
eligible voters,
right.
but there's 5,000 or so that actually vote, yes.
Yeah,
But
but
we will
I'm
roll them all.
talking about though, you can have 4 divided into that number and that's okay.
Correct.
It's not gonna be okay.
We'll
It works.
Except we still have early voting.
Yes, and we'll still have 21 precincts
We will?
that we'll be able to have 4 centers and anyone can go anywhere.
Yeah, we'll have
We
three
still hold
precincts.
21 precincts?
We'll have 3 precincts at each voting center.
There might be 4.
That's just for the library, the election, but 2020, that's going to change.
I want to hear what you're saying.
Pardon?
I want to hear what you're saying. If we go down to 4.
We're going to 4 vote centers.
Yeah, without, I mean, you can save a lot of people's heartache, tragedy about restructuring those 4 centers. I mean, like, Davis or whatever.
Well, we've looked at it, we've spent hours and hours looking at this
Yeah.
with maps and mileages and driving distances, and this is the best that we're going to be able to do. So, any other questions or comments? If not, Judge James, members of the court, we thank you.
Yeah.
I've got a question.
Yes, Esther.
In 2020, is the statewide the changes come across, or just in?
It's statewide. I've talked to several counties. I've got one letter here from one of the election commissioners in another county, and they've already done it. They did it last year, and it's the best thing they've ever done. But the whole state's going to this.
They're even encouraging us to do this in the state.
It'll be implemented over the next year or 2 across the state. So we're just jumping on and getting ahead of things.
And they have it's basically a 2-week period.
Yes, ma'am. And the State Election Commission's talking about expanding the 2-week early voting to 3 weeks. So it's getting better. It's not going to get worse, folks. It's getting better. Anything else? If not, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Who's watching? Who's watching me?